Okay, so I'm just going to kind of continue on with this. Sorry about there's like a gets cut off. I wasn't paying attention to the audio. All right, so I could definitely do a lot better job here, but you know, I don't want to stick forever. So we're gonna say that's mostly good as far as that's concerned. Now, one of the areas that's a real big issue that you're gonna notice is hair. Hair is always a big pain. You can see there's lots of areas and her hair's got wispies and all that, and that's just like one of those things. But we can actually fix that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to take this selection that we've made and actually convert it to a mask. Okay, so by clicking this little button here, which just says add a mask, I'll click on that and it's going to make a mask. Now what's cool about it is that it's not destructive. If you look at the two things here, you can see the original image does still have that color information. It just made a mask. We've been doing that every time we make a selection and we've been doing one of these adjustment layers, it makes the mask and then puts the adjustment layer on it. This time we're just making the mask. But what I can do from here is actually refine that mask. So if I select the mask and then go to the properties of the mask, you'll see that right here where it says refine, we can go to mask edge. Now if I click on this, you'll see that again the litho will show up, and I can change this to different things I think might make it easier for the background. So I can do it on black. Like, okay, because you can see black, it actually makes it easier to see where the line is now. Not for some things, but for the hair, it definitely does. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on black. And this is just a preview, it's not actually black. And what I'm gonna do here is actually adjust some of these numbers here. So I'm gonna take my smoothing, I'll pump that up a little bit. Put the feather up a little bit, and the contrast I'll put up a little bit. And shift edge a little bit. Okay, so what I want to do now is I got the brush tool here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And what this will do is that you draw on some of the edges that you know are problems, and it will actually refine the edge to an extent. This is not working as well as before when I did it. All right, let's see if I'm trying to do this on overlay. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do it on reveal layer, because that way I can actually see where the pieces are. Because right now I'm kind of drawn in the dark here. So hopefully, I'm just gonna kind of try to refine the mask as best I can with all these little wispy things, which it may or may not do a good job. We will soon find out. Okay, I'm just going to put this back on black and see what that looks like. Yeah, I mean, it did an okay job, but it's definitely not doing what I was hoping for. So like right in here, this could be a lot better. Let's see. Now the other thing you can do actually too is underneath this is actually the erase refinements. So if for some reason I made a refinement, I didn't like it, I can actually erase that refinement and it'll kind of revert back to what the original selection was. So you can see like I actually got that back some because my refinement actually sucked it in a little bit more than I was hoping for, so I took that back out. Also right here, I think, yeah, see, I got some of that back too. So the refinement actually didn't do that great of a job. I'm a little disappointed in it. Usually it does an okay job, but in this case it's all right. I'm just gonna do that. Okay, and then what we do is I'm just click on decontaminate colors, and then it was right here. It's gonna say new layer with layer mask. So watch what's gonna happen is it's actually gonna create a new layer. It's gonna turn the current one invisible and then make a new one. Basically, this new one is the same as the old one. It's just it's the refined one that we did. So you can kind of tell like some areas like here compared to here. You'll see, right? So we're gonna basically call that good, I guess. Again, it could be better, but I'm just gonna kind of roll with it. So I'm just gonna go an image. Yep. So I'm just gonna. Oh no, actually, no, I didn't want to do that. Let's see. Where sure. Okay. So with that being said, what I want to do is actually cut her out. So right now this is actually, well, you know what, we'll just do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this layer and put on top of the other layer by grabbing this here, and I'm going to go to window, arrange, and we're going to do two vertically. Okay, and I'm just going to take this and I'm going to drag it into here. And now that layer is now in there. I'm just going to go ahead and exit out of this one, and I'm not going to save it because I don't really care. So now I have her. I'm switching V for the move tool, and I am going to take her, and first things first, I'm going to flip her because I want her to be riding on the elefante. So I'm just going to go to Edit, Transform, and on the bottom here you can see there's a bunch of different options for rotating and all that. I'm just going to flip horizontally, right? And I need to change your size, and if you remember, Control T. There's also an option on this select tool that you can put Show Transforms tools. And what that does is, instead of having to hit freeze transform, it's just every time you have a selection, it automatically has those. I find it a little distracting, so I usually just use the Control T because I have that memorized. But you may want to keep that on or not. I don't know. It's up to you. So come on. It's a little slow. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to hold Shift when I do this. Okay. Oh, all right. Okay. As I'm doing it, to keep it proportionate. Okay, and like so. And I'm gonna make her bigger than what she really should be. I'm just gonna use the arrow keys now to kind of micromanage where she is. Okay, it's going really slow. Okay, and I'm gonna zoom in here. Come on. Oh, all right. You can see it's having a little bit of problems here. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of put her in there, and she's gonna be a little bit bigger than what she should be, but that's fine. I don't really care. All right, so I'm gonna kind of figure that out. Yay! All right, so and then just to say do it, I'm just gonna enter, and then now she's gonna be on the guy. Okay, so now we have successfully gotten all the pieces in here, but obviously it could be a little bit better. Oops. Control Z or Command Z to undo. Okay, so I am going to start trying to composite these to be a little better. So first off, work broad to specific. So I'm just going to try and basically make everything match to everything else, just lighting wise and everything. So you can actually tell the lighting's actually from this side. There's not much I can do about that here. I can try to burn and whatever this, but there's definitely. This is a little more desaturated, and this is more saturated, and her being the most. So I'm going to grab the elephant here, which I should probably label it elephant. And I'm going to go ahead and do a curves, because that one's my favorite. And I'm just going to, now, you'll notice that it's doing it to everything, right? Because what it does, it goes from this layer and then everything below it, including the background. So I'm just going to right click on it, and I'm going to go create clipping mask. And what that's going to do is that now it's only going to affect the elephant. Okay, so I'm just going to generally adjust this, and I am going to, what's this one? Exposure, curves, levels. I'm going to try the brightness contrast actually, because see how he's really contrasty? I'm going to take his contrast down a bunch. Again, I have to create that clipping mask. I'm going to take his or legacy. Yeah, legacy almost grays him out more. I might actually use the legacy one. I'm going to kind of superficially basically desaturate him to kind of help him match a little. And that kind of helps, I guess. All right. All right, so we'll kind of do that. And then I'm going to also do a hue saturation, and I'm actually going to, again, I got to create that clipping mask. Oops. No, it already has one apparently. Okay, I'm going to take my saturation down a little bit on this, and I'm actually going to, let me see. No, okay, yeah. Take saturation a little bit, like that. Yeah, we'll make them a little bit darker too to kind of match. Okay. So get them a little bit closer. I'm gonna double click on this to open this one back up, and I think he could use a little more green, so I'm gonna take the green and pop that up a little bit just to match. You see how it's kind of greenish, grayish there, to try and match that a little bit better. So it's not perfect, but he's getting closer. Okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and select all of these and then right click, and I'm just going to go ahead and merge layers, and it just basically collapses that. They're not adjustable anymore, those are gone, but it'll just makes it a little bit easier for it to work. So I'm gonna take her and Blend image. Oh, I did all of them, so I'm gonna just do her. Okay, I'm gonna take hers and kind of do the same thing. So I'm gonna zoom in here, and I'm gonna try and do kind of the same thing. So first off, I'm just gonna do a little bit of desaturation on her to get that down a notch. Pull a little bit more towards, that's not really helping. Yeah, we'll go that way. A little bit of that, and we'll darken her up. Oh, gotta create the clothing mask. Boom. Okay, that way it's only doing her. All right, so we'll try that. Okay, and that's good. And then she's gonna need a bit more work than I was hoping. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is go in here and grab some more stuff here. So there she is. Okay, so what I'm thinking is that this head, I'm gonna kind of have it overlap a little bit of where her body is so that I can get it to look a little nicer. Now what I can do is if you actually select that, see how there's like the two here, this is the actual mask. If I hold alternate and click on it, it actually brings the mask back up. And what I'm going to do is, you know, actually let's not do it that way. I think it would be a better way of doing this. I'm going to go to channels, and what you'll notice is when I have this layer selected, there'll be another channel here that says layer mask. If I turn that on, that's the actual mask that's being applied over top of her. I'm going to use that. So I'm going to hit B, and I am going to draw where I think, you know, this should go. Oh, you know what? I got to keep that hand there. So I'm going to get in real close because I want to keep her hand on it, so like she's holding on to the thing there. Apparently the computer doesn't like it when I use the brackets. Okay, and again, I would probably do a better job, but for the sake of time and what have you, I am going to not do a good job. All for the sake of... Okay, and the good thing about doing it this way as opposed to just erasing it is that this will actually, it's not destructive, meaning that you can see I can paint it on or paint it off and I'm not losing the actual image. So this is kind of a better way of working. So I'm going to go a little bit too far and then just bring it back here. That way I can see where the edge is. Okay. Alright, and then here I'm just going to kind of fake where I think this line would be. Alright, so we'll kind of go like that. Okay, and then alternate. And goes back. I think I'm going to take a little more away. B. And so I'm just using again the brush and the eraser tool. This way it'll make her look more like she's on it or whatever. Okay. Okay. So that kind of helps. I'm going to go back to the layers. I'm just going to click back on this one, and then you can kind of see she's kind of composited there. Good. So, okay. Now what I'm going to do is actually kind of micromanage this a little bit because I'm looking at one thing, and again, it all has to do with lighting. The lighting here is obviously, it's kind of a gray sky because there's just an ambient light. There's no real strong shadows. But where he was originally, it was actually a really bright day. Why there's such a harsh line here. But also underneath, it was brighter, so there's more reflected light. That actually wouldn't happen. It's more diffused. So I'm going to, on him, actually take some of this out. I'm just going to go ahead and use that sponge tool. Right here, and I'm going to make sure it's on desaturate, and I'm actually going to take the flow down a little bit, which is basically, it's not opacity, but it's kind of similar. So I'm going to kind of take, I'm on him, right? Yeah, it doesn't seem to be doing that much. I'd rather make many small strokes than a couple really big ones, because that way it's, all right, just to kind of take that down a notch. I'm also going to go in here, and I'm actually just going to paste it. I actually just cut and pasted him, so there is no extra information there. So I'm actually just going to use the eraser tool and erase out some of that. Okay, like so. Because you can see there's those like that rim, like a rim light almost, where you can see like the highlight around the other side. Just because again it was so bright, and partly my cutting wasn't that great. But this would make sense to kind of go around and clean up. Some of this obviously I'm doing manually, but that kind of helps with some of that as well. Okay, so